You're in your 50s and you don't have a lot of friends, don't worry. There's a lot of people that are in the same boat. I'm 53 and I've almost chosen for it to be that way because I'm at the point in my life where I just do not want to deal with people's drama anymore. I do not have the time. I don't have the brain power or the desire. And I also would much rather spend my time just focusing on my own family. And I mean, drama comes from all sources. It comes from your friends. It comes even from your family. It comes in the workplace. So here I'm just going to have some real life chatting with you to let you know that it's okay. You're not alone and it's okay to be alone. It can be lonely, but it's okay to just focus on yourself and focus on your own family. Hi there, I'm Lori and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new here, I share videos here of everything to do with midlife, whether it be parenting, meal prepping, solo travel, redefining who you are, finding confidence. If any of those things resonate with you, thank you for being here and I hope that you'll subscribe. Now let's get to the video. Don't get me wrong, I too wish that I had more friends on many occasions. And when you get to this point in life, it is very difficult to make friends. And then you start to think back to previous relationships that maybe you should have held on to the relationship more, the friendship, you should have tried harder. But also at the same time, I mean, if those relationships took a lot of work and a lot of effort, which I feel like friendships do, or if they're riddled with drama and backstabbing and competition, those aren't healthy friendships anyway. So it's good to just let those go. And I have found over the years that, your friends will kind of come in cycles. And some of them are situational friendships that, they'll develop or they won't develop. And we spend so much time our entire life being told, go and make friends, be friendly, be accommodating. And I've gotten to that point in my life where I'm too tired. I don't want to be bothered with that anymore. And I mean, as far as, cutting people off in your life that bring in drama, I think that is becoming a very common thing nowadays because people are so hyper focused on competition, on, who has what, who's better, who's smarter, who has more money, a better car. Actually, hyper focused on competition is probably the biggest problem with why a lot of people don't have friends, don't want to have friends, and give up friends. I thought I would bring Gideon into the video for a second. So we have two cats and we have two teenagers. I'm gonna say hi, Gideon. Gideon's part Maine Coon and we rescued him from the Humane Society. We've had him for 3 years, so he's 4. He was about actually 8 months when he got dropped off at the door of the Humane Society. But he's a gentle, beautiful boy. And we just adopted another cat a few weeks ago. His name's Dante, and he's around here somewhere too. And he's also part Maine Coon. But I'll hopefully show Dante in another video. But this is Gideon. So we have here in our home, we have the 2 cats and we have the 2 teenagers and my husband. And over the years, more and more, my husband and I, we've had so many conversations about, I wish we had more family. I wish we had more friends or any friends that we would go out with. But I have found that over the years, like I said, friendships are very situational. And it depends on what situation or what part in your life that you're at. The people that we became friends with our kids when they were small, none of those friendships have lasted. And I find the biggest culprit, again, I'm going back to the competition part, is that even when your kids are little, it's very difficult, especially with girls, to be friends with families who also have girls that are the exact same age, going through the exact same cycle in life. Because it's very competitive. Everything's a competition. And I don't know why it's like that. Not having a lot of friends can actually be a little bit of a blessing, because then you start to focus more on your own life and your own family. And we have always had a very strong family bond in the sense that we spend a lot of time together and we've always done a lot of things together. And then the more that people kind of left our circle, that just opened up more time for us to focus on ourselves and do things together. And in the end, really, I mean, the 4 of us, this unit, we are our own best friends. We do everything together, and we know that we can count on each other. And as far as cutting people off, we have cut off a lot of people because we don't want the drama. And I mean, that goes for family as well. Just because they're your family, if all they do is bring drama, stress, and issues to your, family unit, it's honestly not worth it, in my opinion, because if there's not, the relationship has to be reciprocated. If I'm doing something for you, I don't expect things in return, but I just expect some common decency and respect. And with a lot of family, that brings so much drama. And we might just resign to the fact that, okay, I'll see you at Christmas and Easter and Thanksgiving or what have you. And then there's no contact in between. And that's not even really family, because, families are supposed to do things together, grow, share information, trust each other, help each other. So even family, a lot of family, we have, limited our time, and we want to protect whatever little bit of peace that we have and whatever time we have, because time is obviously very limited. So if you are cutting off family members as well, I mean, that's what you have to do. And I think a lot of people nowadays are feeling overwhelmed, overworked, overstressed, and they just want to be left alone. And that also is another thing that I'm going to talk about next, is that at this age, you just want to be left alone, be at peace, and just go about your business with, living life how you want to live it without any outside interferences. I saw a video the other day, and it said that basically people in their 50s, a light bulb is coming off, and they're now saying, okay, everything that I said in my 30s that I was going to do in life, I'm going to start doing now. And that kind of happened with me too. And I'll be turning 54. It's like the time clock is ticking, and also you don't have time for anyone's nonsense anymore, nor do you want to put up with it. And that actually is what happened. So I turned 50, and then it's like, okay, I have all these things I want to do, but also as far as relationships, I am not putting up with anyone's stuff anymore. But I will admit that sometimes I am a little bit hasty in, clapping back at people. And I sometimes don't always think through what I'm saying, or what the result's going to be. So, that can cause some issues, but also when I think about those relationships, if those relationships are doing nothing but bringing drama, trauma, jealousy, like whatever other issues, do I even care? I've been trying to live up to all of these, like societal rules that are out there and norms. And when you're not fitting into those norms, you feel like there's something wrong with you. And that's another conversation that my husband and I have all the time too, is like, what have we done wrong? Like, why is this happening to us all the time? And honestly, I think it's because we have expectations of what we want out of a relationship. And that is, I feel like, something that's important. And a lot of people sacrifice, their own voice and what they want out of a relationship just to have friends or just to have family. And that's not necessarily healthy. We have these, expectations and even, or just standards of what we would want out of friendships. And obviously also having, reciprocation. If, it's not that you do something and expect something in return. It's that it's nice for, if you're kind and generous, that you would expect something like that back. Is our other little boy, Dante, and we adopted him from the shelter. It's been about a month now. But so if you are at this stage of your life as well, where you're in your 50s and you have very few friends, but you're actually feeling lonely and you want to make an effort, my suggestion is just to try to join, some different groups. My husband and I joined a Bible study. I am doing a lot of different events at my job that takes me outside in the community, and I'm making an effort. You have to decide what you want. Do you want to be alone? Do you prefer to be alone? Do you just want to have a small group of people? In my case, I'm okay with being alone, but I do get lonely. Do you want to go down? Did I touch your belly? Okay. Dante's done, I think. I'm saying that it's okay to be alone, but also if you're lonely, make that effort. Get out there, join some different community groups, take up some classes. My plan, I worry about the future, of course, like everyone. I'll be retiring in a few years, and then, that group from work, work becomes your social life, right? And I mean, I don't hang out with a lot of people outside of work. And I always kept that, those were kind of my rules. I didn't want to have everybody at work knowing my personal business. And there's only a handful of people at work again. So from my social circle, I would say actually about 50% of them are from work. And I'm very selective again because, work, that's the worst place for breeding drama and gossip. So I'm very careful about who I choose as friends. And I mean, I want people that are going to also, respect me and my privacy and what we share together in conversations. So yeah, if you are at this point, but you do want to make friends, it's not too late. You can still get out there. Now, if you do not want to make friends and you're just quite content being alone, which I feel like is the case for a lot of people, because at our age, we've dealt with enough stuff. We've dealt with enough people, drama, gossip, backstabbing, and you just want to have peace and quiet. And you have to be okay with being alone, and you have to be okay with doing things alone and filling your life with other things. So for me, although, I'm making an effort to try to have friends, also at the same time, many times when I do make plans, it's like, "Ugh, I don't feel like going. I just want to sit at home." Because we've done our time. We've, worked. We've dragged our kids all over the place. We've put up with so many other issues with people, right? Maybe, like from school kids, friends, and work friends. Like, you're constantly putting up with other people's stuff. And even going out, I find I just get annoyed with people because just people don't care anymore. People don't care about anything. So I get easily annoyed. But I'm trying. So also for you, you don't have to be alone. Just put yourself out there. Don't be afraid of rejection. It does take time to make friends, but also if you want to be alone, you have to be okay with being alone. Thank you so much for being here and watching my video until the end. In typical form, I just rambled on and probably didn't provide any insightful information, but I do appreciate that you're here. And again, I mean, if you are struggling with, not having friends, either you don't care that you don't have friends or you want to make friends, you're not alone. I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel. I like to just come on here and share my life experience, my life tips, and just ramble on. So thanks again. And until next time, bye for now.